26th November as Constitution Day because it was 125th birth anniversary of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Now GB is going to speak few words about Parliament.
Good evening everyone, this is Jimmy from 9th Advance. Today I am giving a gist about the houses of parliament, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and the functions of both houses and the presiding officers of both houses. First, the main function of both houses is to make laws, and every bill should be passed by the both houses and get signed by the president. After the speaking of both houses, that means Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. In Lok Sabha, the overall supremacy on the Rajya Sabha in financial matters. In otherwise, the Rajya Sabha is about the state matters which it is necessary in national interest. And the subjects which the parliament can make laws are defensive, foreign affairs, and coinage and banking, etc. And some presiding officers of both houses. For example, the Lok Sabha has speaker, deputy speaker was elected by the amounts of members, whereas in Rajya Sabha, the chairman of the parliament is the vice president of India, is ex-chairman of India. Now, Lakshita going to say about the positions of the.
We have speaker at the top. The marshal is beside the speaker. We have secretariat in the middle. To the right of the secretariat, we have opposition party. To the left side of the secretariat, we have ruling party. These are the positions of parliament. Here we go. The
mock parliament session starts. Thank you.
Thank you.
All the best to all. Be quiet. Give that best.
Member to take the oath of affirmation, Secretary General, please.
Sri Rana Pratap Singh, who stand elected for the Pali constituency of Rajasthan, now take the oath or affirmation. Sir, in which language would you like to take the oath?
Good evening, Speaker sir, and good evening, House. I want to take English. I, having been elected a member of the lower house of the Youth Parliament, do swear in the name of God that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by law established. That I will uphold the sovereignty and the Constitution of India. The Constitution of India discharges the duty upon which
He was passed away at New Delhi 30 June 1988 at the age of 35.
Chandra, whose death has been known by all. He was a young man from the family of freedom fighters whose father had made name for himself. This tradition was followed by his family. He was very happy and fine. He was still the last moment with us. So his death remains a great sadness. I would like to extend my deep condolence to his family.
Leader of opposition.
And the tributes paid by you and the leader of the house. I had the privilege to work with Suresh Chandra as a collegius. He is a man of kindness, simplicity and very open-hearted person. We have lost a very good social worker, public worker and a public man in him. I would like to associate myself and my party in sending our condolence thanks to William family.
The House may stand in silence for a while, express for a deep sorrow. Prime Minister pleasure to introduce the new ministers.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I have pleasure inviting to you to the house the new ministers, my colleagues, Shri Cherish, Minister of Energy.
Mr. Speaker, sir, question number 101 will the Minister of Communications be pleased to say whether a large number of complaints have been received by P&D Department from telephone subscribers regarding issues of STD facility by unscrupulous facility person, and if so, what steps government propose to take in this regard?
Honorable Minister of Communications, Mr. from Bihar. Honorable Minister of Energy.
Good evening, Speaker, sir. Good evening, House. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Central Electricity Authority has undertaken studies and investigation to assess the techno-economic feasibility of a tidal power project in the Gulf of Kutch, which envisages an installed capacity of about 90 megawatts. There is no proposal at present to set up a tidal power project at any other location. It is estimated that the cost of tidal power project at average cost of generation from conventional hydro and thermal power projects based on projects recently cleared by the CEA are hydro 35 to 60 paisa per unit, thermal 50 to 85 paisa per unit.
Good evening, Mr. Speaker, sir. Good evening to the House. Sir, the Honorable Minister has given reply that the production of power energy at the proposed project in the Gulf of Kutch will be about 85 paisa per unit, and from the hydro the cost will be about 30 to 65 paisa per unit, and from thermal at 50 to 85 paisa per unit. I want to know from the Minister what is the estimated cost of power generation from wind and solar systems, and if the cost of wind and solar systems is low in comparison to hydro and thermal systems, whether the pace of program of power generation of systems wind and solar is being increased in the country.
If you take the cost at the production level, then the solar cost is nearly 2 rupees more than the thermal cost. We have to consider the cost delivered, that is the cost to consumer. If that is considered, then we find that solar energy can become comparable and competitive.
New ingeniously developed technology.
Srimati Spurti.
Good evening to Mr. Speaker, sir, and to House. Sir, will the Minister of Food and Civil Supplies be pleased to state the latest position of food grains reserved in the country? Whether keeping in the view the present drought situation, government has adequate stock of food grains to meet the requirements of our country, and if no, the measures proposed to be taken by the government to deal with the situation. Thank you.
Honorable Minister for Food and Civil Supplies of Karnataka.
Good evening, Mr. Speaker, sir. Sir, the total stock of the food grains with the public agents as on 1st January 1988 was estimated at 14.14 million tons. The stock available are to meet the present requirement of the public distribution system. There is also regular replenishment of the stock through procurement operation. Future, the government is also keeping open the option to import food grains as when considered necessary. Thank you.
Srimati Spurti.
Sir, is it a fact that the reserve of food grains have declined from 23 million tons to 15 million tons during the month July in 1987? If so, what are the stock to fulfill this defect of food grains? Is there a
buffer stock policy is 21.1 million tons against the 14 million tons of the food is available in our buffer stock. And the shortfall is only 16 million tons. I hope this will be offset in the next Rabi season on the going season. As far as the storage capacity is concerned, the policy that we are considering additional storage capacity. Also, so that whatever is required of the buffer stock is stored to the different places. If you want to know the present store capacity, I can supply it to honorable members. This is also listed situated and to studies. Thank you.
Srimati Spurti.
Sir, I would like to know whether because of the shortage of stock in food grains has the government supplied rice and wheat, which is the not food for human consumption.
Shri Manogram from Maharashtra.
Mr. Speaker, sir. Question number 105. Will the Ministers of Tourism will be please state the foreign exchange earnings from the tourism during last 3 years, year-wise, the name of the 5 countries of the top of point view of tourist arrival in India.
Honorable Minister of Tourism from Andhra Pradesh.
Good evening, Mr. Speaker, sir. Good evening to the home. Sir, the estimated foreign exchange earnings from the tourism during the last 3 years were as follows. In 1984 to 85, 1300 crores. In 1985 to 86, 1460 crores. In 1986 to 87, 1780 crores. The 5 countries on the top in the terms of tourist arrivals in India during the 1987 were Bangladesh, United Kingdom, Pakistan, United States of America, and Sri Lanka.
Shri Manogram from Maharashtra.
What is the number of tourists arrival from different countries with foreign exchange earned, and which country was where we earned the highest foreign exchange in the matter of tourist arrival?
Shri Leela Pramod from Tamil Nadu.
Good evening, Mr. Honorable Speaker. May I know whether the Ministry of Tourism has made any study to find out as to what is India's potential for attracting foreign tourists? If so, may I know to what extent the potential has been utilized successfully by us up to till now? Thanks.
Minister of Tourism from AP.
Sir, India has the greatest tourist potential in the world because we have got number of archaeological monuments, we have got tourist facilities which have been created after the creation of history in 1985. We have got 18 overseas offices which provide facilities for tourists to come to India. We can compare the foreign exchange earnings from tourism with that of handicraft. Whereas we are spending rupees 75 earning rupees 100 from handicraft. We are spending 7 rupees for earning 100 rupees from tourism. That shows that tourism earns lot for our country. Thank you.
Honorable Minister from Jammu and Kashmir.
Good evening, Mr. Speaker. Good evening to the House. Sir, I beg to lay on the table a copy each of the following notifications under subsection 1 of section 28 of the Mines and Minerals Regulation and Development Act 1957. First, the mineral concession, the third amendment to Rule 1987, published in notification number GSR 1002 in the Gazette of India dated 21st December 1987. Second, SO 145 published in the Gazette of India dated the 4th February 1988 authorizing the Geological Survey of India to carry out such detailed investigations for the purpose of obtaining such information as may be necessary in the area specified in the table annexed
Minister of Agriculture from Haryana.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay on the table Subsection 1, 619A, Companions Act 1956, review by the government on the working of the State Farm Corporation of India Limited, New Delhi for the year 1986 to 87, Annual Report of the State Farm Corporation of India Limited, New Delhi for the year 1986 to 87, along with audit accounts and the comments of the comptrollers and the Auditor General thereon.
Honorable Minister of Urban Development from Andhra Pradesh.
Good evening to Speaker sir and to the whole. Mr. Speaker sir, I beg to say on the table a copy each of the following papers, Hindi and English versions. Subsection 1, 619A, the Companies Act 1956. Review by the government on the working the National Mineral Development Corporation Limited Hyderabad for the year 1986 to 87. Annual report of the National Mineral Development Corporation Limited Hyderabad to the year 1986 to 87, along with edited accounts and the comments of control and Editor General thereof. Thank you.
Secretary to the report message from Upper Chamber to Youth Parliament.
Sir, I have to report the following messages received from the Secretary of the Upper Chamber of Youth Parliament. In accordance with the provisions of the rules of procedure and conduct of business in the Upper House of Youth Parliament, I am directed to enclose a copy of Illegal Migrant Bills 1988, which has been passed by the Upper Chamber at its sitting held on 1988. Thank you.
This is Honorable Sumaira Madam from Gujarat.
सभा को प्रणाम। अध्यक्षा महोदय, मैं चाय फिक्स को धन्यवाद कहना चाहती हूँ। मुझे कृषि मंत्री का ध्यान आकर्षित करने के लिए अवसर प्रदान करते हुए सबको धन्यवाद। केंद्र द्वारा कहा गया है कि ये समय जब मेरा अपना राज्य गुजरात के लोगों को 3 से 4 सप्ताह भी खिलाने की स्थिति में नहीं हूँ। यह हम केवल खाद्यान्न के बारे में चर्चा कर रहे हैं। मैं अच्छी तरह से जानती हूँ कि इतने सारे राज्यों से बने हमारे देश में मैं यह भी महसूस कर रही हूँ कि संबंधित राज्य को समय पर जब उन्हें वास्तव में इसकी आवश्यकता होती है तब सामान भोजना केंद्र का कर्तव्य है एवं कर्तव्य है। हमारे पास अपने खेतों को जोतने के लिए पर्याप्त पानी नहीं है, इसलिए जब कोई के पास पर्याप्त मात्रा से साइज था, जब हम भरपूर मात्रा में सीज लेते हैं।
The food minister placed on the table of the house to reply the unstarted question. Lane a statement showing the allocation and the supply from the central pool. If you go into the figures, every state has got the less food than the actual allotment. This has been for continuously for 3 years. These are the figures what I find from your own statement. Therefore, the allotment of the food grains by the central government has no meaning whatever. Now I would like to make the third point. I have verified the facts from him and he said they are true. I did not want to be contradicted. Now the fact is accordingly to the statement in Tamil Nadu after 1954 to 1955, there had been not procurement worth the names. That is, the procurement have been about 5 lakh odd tons in last year only, and before the procurement had been just about 20,000 to 30,000 tons maximum. Thank you.
Mr. Leela Pramod from Mizoram.
Good evening, Mr. Honorable Speaker. The annual requirement of rice for public distribution is 20 lakh tons. However, monthly allocation is hardly 95,000 tons. The extremely mono several states has imposed restriction on movement of food grains. This has resulted in arrivals of food grains in Kerala having fallen down, creating serious situation. The prices are raising. The government of Kerala has approached central government for raising the monthly allocations be increased to the originally quota at least 1,35,000 tons. Thank you.
Honorable Minister of Labour to introduce the bill from Uttar Pradesh. My question is that leave to be granted in the introduce the bill from to amend the Employees' Funds and Miscellaneous Provisions Act in 1952, the Indian Penal Code. I think is as and advertised leave it granted.
Sir, I will introduce the bill.
Now the House will take up consideration of Commission of Sati Bill 1987. Minister of Human Resource Development from Punjab.
Sir, I beg to move the bill to provide for more effective prevention of the commission of sati and its glorification and for matters connected with or incidental thereto be taken into consideration. Sir, the House is aware of the crime of sati recently committed in a village of our country. All sections of society have shown a rare unanimity in condemning the incident and views for the effective prevention of the commission of sati and its glorification. Also, the offense of to commit suicide is contained in section 309 of the Indian Penal Code and has been held by various prevent such a practice. Besides, there is no provision to prohibit the glorification of sati.
Good evening, Speaker Sir. Good evening to House. Honorable Speaker Sir, I rise to support this bill. The recent incident of sati has ever widespread condemnation from all parts of the country. The media has also played its part in highlighting this incident. Parliament has taken full notice of it. Government has come out with legislation, a bill which is in a sense is a symbol of its determination to fight. A symbol of its will be to see that the nation does not once again slide back into obscurity.
Mr. Siddhartha from Telangana.
Good evening, Mr. Speaker, sir. It is with mixed feelings that have to address this August House. The whole country was shocked and humiliated by the recent incident of sati. There were women throughout the country condemning and demanding prevention of this type of crime. And my party was in forefront of this agitation. It was only after the strong reaction from the people that the government has been forced to bring in this legislation. But sir, what is painful is that the legislation which they have brought forward now is full of flaws and have been drafted without consulting any of the women organizations who are in a better position to give valuable solutions as they had done a lot of work in this sphere. Thank you.
Minister for Human Resource Development from Punjab.
Sir, let me explain. I do agree that a woman who is rescued from the funeral pile of her husband is certainly not in a fit condition for us even to know what she was doing. In all probability, she was compelled to do it all because she had no alternative. We do agree that there are various circumstances because of which she might have been compelled and she has no way put off it. Still, it is an offense under the penal code as an attempt
out the reaction any understanding that sati is voluntary and therefore it talks only of amendment and not of the actual offense which is burying on or the burning alive of women on the burned bride. It punishes the poor woman who is victim of social sins. Thank you.
Mr. Harshavardhan from Tamil Nadu.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I have a heard vision that in the year 1987, when planning to take the country into 21st century, we are going to pass this type of bill or going to back to 19th century instead of marching to 21st century. It is a matter to great sorrow that steps taken by Raja Mohan Rai in 1929 are required to be taken again in 1987. Thank you.
Mrs. Krishna from Delhi.
Sir, this is considered to be murder, not suicide.
Mrs. Lorena from Karnataka.
Good evening, Speaker Sir and House. Sir, I thank you for giving me an opportunity to participate in this debate. I will not go into the different aspects of sati because learned speakers before me have already dealt with at large. The only thing I would like to point out in that through this bill tries to cover one social evil. The fact remains that many people in this country have been believing in this concept due to certain basic living and social conditions. The government should seriously consider as to how the living conditions of widows should be improved. This is my opinion will to a large extent eliminate the conditions in which this sort of practice find ready breeding ground. The government should seriously address itself to this problem. Widows should be encouraged and helped to be able to have an independent livelihood. Thank you.
Mr. Harsha from Tamil Nadu.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I like to support the resolution moved by the learned member. To you, I would like to congratulate having brought this resolution. I especially agree that its punishment is too less. I am sorry that these people are left lightly. I think there should be summary justice. Thank you.
Minister of Health and Family Welfare from Meghalaya.
Good evening, Mr. Speaker, sir, and good evening to the House. Mr. Speaker, sir, I congratulate the mover of resolution, Shri Pri, as well as the other honorable members who are presented here. I am thankful to you. I am thankful to you because I am thankful to you because you solved all the problems of the public who are suffering with health issues, and so many departments of the government had kept various efforts to combat this serious menace. Sir, I would like to submit the law of this government which brought an historical piece of legislation, the Narcotic Drugs and Physiotropic Substances Act in 1985. I would like to punish them with a fine of 2 lakh rupees. After that I started teaching. I kept a meeting in Delhi and Bombay borders. After the 1985 Act was passed, 1,300 people were arrested. Now coming to health issues, I am very happy to inform you that I started a new program called Drug Debt Detection Program. I would like to start that with the borders of Delhi, Bombay, Mumbai and etc. And I kept publicity with a cost of 15 lakh rupees. Now I would like to request Shri P to withdraw his solution. Thank you.
people who are involved: the producer, the transposer, the street peddler, and the last the actual consumer. Normally, it is only the peddler who is apprehended and punished. The other two members, namely the producer and the transporter, usually are allowed to go scot-free because they are kept hidden. I am sure that the government would look at the problem with the gravity it deserves. Thank you.
The resolution by the leave of the House is withdrawn. Now the House is adjourned to meet again tomorrow at 11 a.m. Thank you.
We celebrate on November 26th every year in India to commemorate the adoption of the Indian Constitution, which came into the force in January 26, 1950. The drafting committee drafted the Indian Constitution under the instructions of Dr. Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar. In the drafting committee, there were 7 members. They are Dr. Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar as the chairman, and the remaining 6 members are Krishna Swami Iyer, N. Gopala Swami, Mohammed Sabita, K. M. Munshi, B. L. Kaitan, and D.P. Kaitan, and B. L. William. The drafting committee and its members were very influential in Constituent Assembly. Out of 166 sittings, 114 were debating the draft constitution made by the drafting committee. It took 2 years, 11 months and 80 days to complete the Indian Constitution. It is the longest written constitution. Our Indian Constitution says that India is a secular, socialist, sovereign and republic country. Our Indian citizens have liberty, justice and equality to promote the fraternity. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Our Indian Constitution. Indian Constitution is the largest constitution in the world. It took 2 years, 7 months, 80 days to write the Constitution. I am going to say the history of Indian Constitution. The draft of the Constitution is elected by the elected members of the provincial assemblies. There were more than 30 members in scheduled classes. Mr. Mohananand Goral represents Goan community. Sarojini Naidu and Hansa Mahta were important women members. When all the members met, they thought of proposing some laws. Like this includes committees on fundamental rights, union powers committee, and union constitute committee. Thank you.
Constitution is also known as national law. It is celebrated on 26 November every year to commemorate the adoption of Constitution of India. On 26 November 1949, the Constituent Assembly adopted the Constitution of India. The Constitution of India. In the government declared 26 November as a Constitution Day and it came into effect on 15 November 2015. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi made the declaration on 11th October 2015 by laying the foundational stone of B.R. Ambedkar Statue of Equality Memorial in Mumbai. Thank you.
All of you who are over present here, I'm Priya from 6th August. Today I'm going to say about Constitution Day. National Constitution Day have been celebrated prior to 2015. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar have been celebrated his 125th birthday on 26th November 2015, which is National Constitution Day in India. Our Prime Minister Narendra Modi made this a national holiday. The date of the 15th of August 1947 marked the day that India's independence. We celebrate Republic Day on 26th January because that is the day when our Constitution came into effect. Representatives from several fields were elected into this Constitutional Assembly. There were 4 notable members. They are Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel and B.R. Roy. There are 7 fundamental rights. They are right to equality, right to freedom, right against expropriation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, right to constitutional remedies. Thank you.
Greeting to all who are present here. My name is Janani. I am from grade 1. I would like to thank whoever performed in dance and mock parliament, and they performed realistic and good and dance very graceful, great, and there is wonderful performance on here. And I would like to thank our principal sir and vice principal sir, AGM sir, and our high school in charge. Thank you.
Preamble. We, the people of India, have solemnly resolved to contribute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status, and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Constitution Day. Prime Minister Narendra Modi decided to celebrate the 26th of November as Constitution Day because it was the 125th anniversary of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. The Constitution Day celebrated 26th of November is every year. Thank you.
Good evening, all right. So really, I not expected today this program, Constitution Day of India, our Constitution adopted by our Parliament today, November 26, 1949. But I not expected this type of program in our institution really. As really I am appreciating our social master Malika sir and our English madam Saragamata. Because of this mock parliament, first time I am watching here, not only Lok Sabha Speaker, everyone today, all the state people, state ministers, everybody became the best speakers here. From various states, 28 states are there, 8 union territories. From various states, all the ministers attended here, and then secretariat, opposition members. It's looking like it's really parliament as Lok Sabha. Parliamentary President, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Here really I wanted today Lok Sabha. There's various information you gather and it's submitted to the speaker, and decisions also taken by in the Lok Sabha. You are all the members in how to implement. And then what is on dance program is very soon they practice here today only they since practice it and performed very well. And then next all the speakers, the best orators from different classes, students or audience, really they performed very well. They explained here the best speakers. Remaining all the members, they are showing highly enthusiasm here. Each and they are concentrating here. Almost all the points covered by our audience. And then I want to say small information about our Indian Constitution. Indian Constitution adopted in 1949, we know, came into force from 1950, January 26th onwards. But only one question for you. Our Constitution came into force on January 26, 1950, we know. Then why we are celebrating Republic Day? Our Constitution came into force, but why we are celebrating Republic Day? Constitution Day we have to celebrate now. Republic Day we are celebrating. Why? Here one student explained, our constitution, as per constitution, our country is a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic country. What is republic here? Why our constitution came into force day, January 26, celebrating Republic Day, is very important one. Attention everybody. Number of constitutions, different types of constitutions are there in the world. Monarchical constitution, federal constitution, unitary constitution, republican constitution, number of constitutions, different types of constitutions. Our country constitution is republican constitution. What is republican constitution? What is republican constitution mean? Republic, the head of the nation or the head of the state, our president, is elected by the people, directly or indirectly. This is called republic. Before, who ruled our country? England government. They followed monarchical constitution. What is monarchical constitution? Head of the nation is a king or queen. Even now also England government, who are ruling, king or queen. After that, hierarchy, queen daughter. Again, queen grandson or granddaughter. These are all ruling. But in our country, what is going? Republican constitution is going. Our head of the nation is elected by the people, directly or indirectly. Now, who is our President of India? Dr. Murmu. She is elected by the people, directly or indirectly. She is elected by the parliament, Lok Sabha members, Assembly, MLAs. These are all elected. Before Draupadi Murmu, who is our President of India? Ramnath Kovind. Draupadi Murmu is not the Ramnath Kovind's daughter, correct? The hierarchy goes going here? No. But in monarchical constitution, queen, then their daughters, their granddaughters, grandsons, hierarchy, hereditary system, they are elected. So England government constitution is monarchical constitution. Our government following republican constitution. Our constitution came into force on January 26, 1950, no. But our constitution is republican constitution. That is what we have to say. We have to know the how. our Republican Constitution came into force on 1950 January 26. That's why we are celebrating Republic Day. So, head of the nation, Lok Sabha members, here are watching, assembly members, each and everyone electing by the people directly. So, our constitution, no doubt, Republican Constitution. So, here we have one constitution. As per that, we are ruling our country. What my suggestion strongly, I recommend you also prepare your own constitution. In our constitution, what we have to write, you know, morning to evening, wake up time, bedtime, what we have to do, at 8 o'clock what we have to do, 8:30, what is going every day, your daily schedules, what is your aim, how to reach that aim, what are your teachers, how to read, what subject you have to read, is each and everything what you are doing from morning to evening, one schedule, one plan of action you have to prepare. That is your individual constitution, student constitution, your constitution. You have to prepare your rules and regulations in your constitution. I hope that understood what I am telling you. Thank you all. Thank you. Really, I am appreciating all our employees and our teachers, each and everyone who was taking part here.